Hey there, this is Alex Kluge from Toronto Home Experts, and I'm here to dive into the January 2021 real estate market update. Now, before I dive into some of these numbers, I want to give you some context because we are comparing the January 2020 numbers to January 2021. Now, what was happening in January 2020? It was a very active real estate market. It was very much a seller's market, and really the year started off with a bang, and inventory was so tight that it was strongly tilted towards sellers. And I remember that market very vividly because I was saying, wow, I don't know where this is going to go because it is very difficult to purchase a property in the GTA. And that's January 2020. Now, obviously, we all know what happened. In March, the pandemic hit, and that really put the brakes on the real estate market, probably until sometime in June. So, really, when we're comparing these numbers, keep that in mind because some of these numbers are absolutely eye opening. Sales volume is up 52%. Now, crazy because we were comparing this to a very strong January from last year. So, what does this mean? Well, actually, a lot of the momentum that we saw late last year, like November, December, we're now seeing carried on to January. Usually in a real estate market, January is pretty slow. It's the new year. There's usually 2 feet of snow outside and it's minus 20. No one wants to go see property. But really, the pandemic has shifted this market. Everyone's working from home essentially, and people are looking for more space. And three, people are looking to take advantage of the ultra low mortgage rates that we're seeing now. One thing to remember when looking at these numbers, when we're looking at the mortgage rates a year ago, so call it January 2020, the mortgage rates were about 2.8 to 2.75 on a 5-year fixed. What are they today? They're 1.5 to 1.6 on a 5-year rate. That's a crazy difference in carrying cost. When you're looking at what the mortgage rate different or mortgage payment difference would be on such a drop, and that drop really happened quickly, it's actually one of the number one reasons why buyers are jumping into the market because they're seeing these rates may not last forever. And right, rates aren't probably going up this year or maybe even early next year, but rates are eventually going to go up. Like these 1.5 to 1.6% fixed rate mortgages are not going to be around forever. So when you're buying a property today at these low rates, you have to remember in 5 years' time, budget for a higher interest rate because they're not going to be what they are today. Like this is ultra low, and this is fueling the market. And we're seeing a ton of activity, which is obviously proof with these numbers. So active listings, we saw sales volumes up. What happened to active listings? They actually went down. So what does that mean? That actually puts more pressure on buyers for market because there is more activity. We have less inventory, and that puts a lot more pressure to buy, and therefore we see prices increase and we see months of inventory decrease. So that's really what the message is when we're seeing these two activity and listings go in different directions. And that really makes it a very difficult market for buyers to operate. Now, I'm going to talk about a little bit of the market because there are micro markets within the greater market. These are the greater Toronto area real estate numbers. So, the market behaves differently, and I'm going to talk about that shortly. New listings. Well, new listings are up, which is a good thing. But, one of the things that we're seeing is there is a shift from what's happening in terms of the new listings coming on the market. Like normally in January, as I mentioned, like it's pretty slow from this is the year just getting started. It's cold out, and usually the spring market doesn't start until call it March, sometimes April, depending on the weather. But this year, like the spring market is here. I'm recording this video in early February, and I'm telling you, the spring market's here, even though it's just snowed outside and there's almost minus 10-degree weather outside. But spring market's here, and it's here in full force. So what we're seeing is a continuation from last year. Condo sales are actually ultra competitive right now, especially in the downtown core. Buyers are jumping back in to the downtown market, and also to the suburb market. Like when we're talking about Durham region, Halton, Peel, York region, like that is also very, very active. And that's primarily the detached, semi-detached freehold market. So that's really what's pushing prices up, is there's just not a lot of inventory, and there are far more buyers than there are sellers right now. So if you're looking to be a buyer in today's market, it's really important to be educated and informed, because there's all these news media reports of multiple offer situations where we might have 75 offers in Mississauga, 20 offers on a downtown condo, 38 listings on 38 offers on a property in Leslieville. Being informed is so incredibly important in this market, because the last thing you want to do is overpay in a market that is as competitive as it is today. Anyways, that's just my my brief summary of what's happening with sales. But unsurprisingly, average prices are up 15.5% from where they were last year, and that was a very good and appreciating real estate market that we saw in January of last year. Now, if you strip out condos from these numbers, so like, because we all know that condo prices have been depressed since the start of March, call it, or mid-March. And so prices are still down for an average condo, especially downtown. And that's not going to last long. Like if you're looking to buy a downtown condo, the prices are going to catch up to where they were last year, probably by sometime this spring. So, or maybe even sooner at this rate. So it's a good idea. If you're on the sidelines wondering where prices are going, and I'm going to get into predictions shortly, but prices for condos average from where they were last year are down, whereas the freehold market is up. Now, here's a little bit of some frightening numbers I'm going to share with you in terms of where prices have appreciated in the GTA, excluding condos, year over year. So for Halton region and Durham region, we're looking at an average of about 30% average price increase. Does that mean that every house has gone up 30%? No, it doesn't. But it just shows that there's a lot of demand and very little inventory for product out in those regions. Peel is also up as well, about 25%. York region's up around 23% from where we were a year ago. This is freehold, excluding condos. And Toronto's up like 15%, excluding condos. So there's a flight to freehold. I think that's sort of the message. In other words, people are looking for more space. People are beginning working from home, so they want the ability to maybe have that extra bedroom or two if you have people working from home or school from home. Really, this pandemic has really shifted our behavior of how we view work and learning. So that's really propelled and fueled this market, especially outside of Toronto, but even inside the Toronto market is very, very active. Now, some of the things that we're not going to see here in some of these some of the stats yet is what's happening with sales. Now, you're going to see, I'm going to get to days on market in a second, but the multiple offer scenario is a very common pricing strategy right now. And essentially, I'm going to say, I'm making this number up, but 98 or 99% of all freehold properties are accepting offers at a later date. So like the pricing low, selling significantly above the asking price, or the list price, I should say, is extremely common right now. And we're now seeing it in downtown condos as well. So now it's becoming increasingly common to have a multiple offer scenario. I was actually in a multiple offer scenario last Friday, 19 offers on a downtown condo that last year, like last November, no one would even put an offer in on it. Like it was on the market for a month, nothing, crickets. And now there are 19 offers. And I don't know what the sale price is, but I'm telling you, it is quite a bit above what they were asking back in November. So funny about this market, you can never predict how it shifts, and it shifts really, really quickly. So again, unsurprisingly, days on market is down. 24 is still really, really low. And again, that's an average for the last, comparing from January this year to last year. And unsurprisingly, months of inventory is also down 1.6 for all of GTA is unbelievably low. Like that just shows that there is hardly any inventory to satisfy the buyer demand right now. And actually, if you strip out if you just look at the suburbs, like if you look at Halton, Durham, Peel, York, and just look at the freehold months of inventory only, it's like around 1, which is unbelievably low. Just shows that there's really not enough supply out there. So great if you're a seller. If you're a buyer, it's a challenging market. But as I said, be educated, be armed with information, go in with a plan, and our clients are finding it. That's the most successful way to get into this market, and also some patience too. Okay, predictions. What's going to happen this year? If you've followed our videos for the last several months, my feeling is that we're going to see a lot of the same for the rest of the year. So the momentum that we have now for January, like the end of the year through January, we're going to see continue until the, call it, end of the spring. And I don't know when the end of the spring market is. Is it going to be May? Is it going to be June? Is it going to be July? I don't know. But we really had a delayed spring market, and it hasn't really taken a pause. There's been a couple like momentary pauses, like in end of August, early September last year, but really it hasn't really taken a breather. And so I think what we're going to see is continued appetite moving out to the 905. I think that's going to be a big driver of what's happening in the GTA. I think condos are back. I think downtown condos especially are going to be very, very attractive. And the one thing I wanted to say is that this market, unlike what's happening in what happened in 2017, is largely driven by end users. So people are wanting to get into the housing market or wanting to upsize or downsize. This wasn't like 2017 where it was just investors, well, not just investors, but primarily investors getting into the market. So I think really this is going to continue. As I said, it's a lifestyle shift. People are looking for more space. So if you have, if you're in a condo, like finding that den now is extremely important, like a place where you can work from home away from your living space. Or even if you're in a house and you're, want that extra bedroom, like sometimes converting part of your basement into having a home office, or maybe even building addition. Like I'm seeing that being really popular with people right now. Having that flex space at home has never, ever been more important. And that's something that we hear every single day from our clients looking to get into this market. Anyways, hope you've enjoyed our video. Wanted to also do a shout out to our social media channels. Like we love the questions and feedback that we get. Please keep them up. Follow us, ask questions, reach us by email or phone. We're always available to chat. We love our followers are increasing, and we're also finding some really great engagement. So please keep it up, and we'll find you next month on this real estate market update video at that time as well. Thanks so much, and enjoy the next one. Bye for now.